Hello, everyone. Welcome to Conversations with Sekani, a podcast for people in their 20s who are trying to figure out life and not get lost along the way. Today's guest is Janette Burke, a women's empowerment speaker, media personality, and television podcast host who has reached more than 15 million women over 15 seasons of her own show. While many know her for her work in media, Janet's most powerful message comes from her own life. When her mother's health changed, she found herself balancing caregiving while rebuilding her business around a 20-hour work week. That experience forced her to rethink success, identity, and what it really means to keep showing up when life asks everything of you. Today, Janet encourages women to embrace reinvention, resilience, and the courage to create a life that reflects who they are, not just what others expect of them. Janet, welcome to Conversations with Sekani. It's a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you so much for having me, Sekani. And I was really impressed. I did a little research on you last night, and your motivation for starting this podcast is very impressive. And yeah, I'm happy to be here.
All right, thank you for that, Janet. So yes, I want you to take us back to your 20s, basically, right? So I would say, what kind of person were you then, and what dreams or ambitions were driving you then?
So in my 20s, I was in university until my mid 20s. And then I had already started my first business, which was a PR company. I think I was, very fun, outgoing, vivacious. I was very interested in being successful, entrepreneurial. I started so young. My first business was actually a PR firm, a boutique PR firm in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. And I was like very a go-getter, very ambitious, and I had a lot of big dreams. I
Mm,
thought initially, I thought, oh, I want this, I want to be this huge PR person with this big PR firm. That's what I thought initially. And and as time went on, because I actually did that business for several years, I started to discover that I actually did not like everything I was doing, and that parts
mm,
of it just didn't fit me or suit me, and I wanted to unload them. So basically, I brought in an understudy or an assistant or whatever you want to call it to work with me. And even though it was a PR company wherein we had clients that we had to pitch the media for print, radio, TV, internet, satellite coverage, whatever we could get in any combination, I actually did not enjoy the pitching part. So what I
mm,
did was I stepped away from that. I was kind of like the overseer. I would oversee the actual press releases, the pitches, the hooks, the angles, and the media contact list that we were going to be approaching. But I would then hand that off to my assistant to carry on and pitch and get secure the bookings. That freed me up so that I could
mm,
then focus on doing a couple of other things. So one thing I did was I trained, like on camera training, the clients before we sent them to the media, the booked media placement. So before they had their radio interview or their TV interview, or even if they were being written about in an article or some kind of publication, they need media training first to make sure they answer the questions properly. And if there is a visual component like TV, they have to dress the part, they have to look the part. So I was really focused on that while she did the other parts. I was also free to then go on my own media and speaking tour. And that is where things really changed for me. So I was free to kind of be my own company figurehead, my own company brand spokesperson. And so what happened was I start getting a lot of publicity for myself and my company. I was writing for 3 publications. I had a uh, business column, like a on media and marketing and public and media relations. column in the York Region Business Times, which was a large publication here in the Greater Toronto area, which no longer exists. But I had that column for 4 years, front and back. So that was a lot of space, 800 to 1,000 words. And, I was out speaking at different conferences, business events, what have you, even the Learning Annex. I was giving lectures and workshops on what PR is and how smaller businesses could use it to promote themselves and avoid paying advertising costs. And I also was like being interviewed on media interviews. And so one of those media interviews led to me, I came in as a guest, I left as a co-host of a show. And that opened the doors for me, really, because in that I was able to discover what I really wanted to do and what I was very passionate about. And I discovered that, in fact, I wanted to be in front of the cameras, not behind the cameras. So this was really the awakening for me. As I said, it started as a guest. Then I left. They made me a co-host with my own segment of this particular show once a week. Then it was once a month. And then I went from there on the network, I went to the flagship show, which was a daily show. I wasn't on it daily, but I was a co-host for a long time. And then I got offered to have my own show on a competing network. And that's where it all really began, because my original show, my very first show, we're going back over 15 years, was entitled I'm Every Woman TV, like the song I'm Every Woman, Shaka Khan. And so that's where I started to talk about women's issues and things like that. I did a lot of lifestyle and entertainment, a lot of entertainment, but it was geared towards women. And then that just morphed. We kept, growing, rebranding, whatever. Eventually we settled on Janette's TV podcast as the name of the show, because even though we started as TV, which is really online TV, utilizing the internet and social media as our platform to showcase ourselves and, be watched. And that was a great decision I made at the time, because the internet was just on the cusp of growing into what it is today, and was yielding more views than traditional TV studios were, like CBS, NBC, and ABC in the United States, were able to generate in 50 years. So I started with Facebook. And when I originally started, I only had 500 people following me, or 700 people following me on Facebook, when I was still with the studios, because I wasn't allowed to do my own promotion. I wasn't allowed to share things for myself. Everything had to go to the studio. So I had very little. And this was one platform, Facebook, with like 700 people. And now flash forward, and I said I built the TV side first, the online TV side first. I start going from, multiple platforms: Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Pinterest, Vimeo, YouTube. It just kept expanding. And now I have a global audience from all these platforms, my social media platforms and various other sources combined, 15.2 million savvy women over 40. And my demographics are, like America first, Canada second. I have it all broken down by country and by city. And I just like it. This is all vision, like I started that way. I spread it through the internet. And then when COVID hit, I decided, we got to have a podcast too. We got to start hitting those podcast platforms like iHeartRadio, Buzzsprout, BuzzFeed, Apple TV, and all that. So we added the podcast side. So we took it from Janette's TV to Janette's TV podcast, because there's the TV and the podcast side. And we always maintained one other division, which is the online publication called Savvy by Janette's TV podcast. Now that's a monthly e-publication. And you know what? It's a gift to your viewers today. If you're a savvy woman over 40 and you want to know everything there is to know about lifestyle and entertainment and things that affect your life, we have this publication. You can sign up to receive it right on my homepage at www.janetteburke.com. It's free to join. And I'm sure the link will be provided. It's again, www.janetteburke.com. It's Savvy by Janette TV Podcast. You can sign up to receive it. If you receive it once a month, here's what you'll get. You'll get one Janette's TV podcast episode, which is usually featured or centered around something entertainment and celebrity. Then you'll see 4 other segments that we produce, which they are as follows. One is Janette's Tips and Sips. This is a conversation I have with my 15.2 million savvy women besties all over the world. We have this conversation once a week. I feature lifestyle tips, lifestyle hacks, beauty tips, health tips, makeup tips, all kinds of different things that are meant to really enhance and improve your life and share must-have products. That's in that segment. Then you'll get another segment in that publication called Janette's Take On. And this is another segment I do once a week where I basically share my opinions and perspectives on what normally would be called hot topics, but I call it Take On. So I'm sharing perspective on celebrity events, political events, lots of things happening in the world. You know, it's my views, it's a commentary. You get that segment too. And then you get another segment called Cooking with Janette, which is basically my cooking segment, but it's a little different than a traditional cooking segment or even a cooking show. We cook, obviously, but it was meant to be something different than that. I created it to basically unite women in a commonality because let's face it, that's where we hang out. A lot of the times we're in the kitchen, right? Whether it's cooking with our grandmothers, our mothers, our sisters, our friends, or even when company comes, the women tend to conjugate in the kitchen, the men go elsewhere. So this segment was designed to really share culture, share experience, share emotional stress, which cooking often releases, and bring us all together through food. And so it's also special because it's done in a kitchen that is a kosher kitchen. So meaning, you know, kosher rules are followed, no meat, no dairy mixed together, but yet we incorporate other cultures in, like Greek cooking, Indian cooking, all different kinds of, even Chinese food, you name it. And we do it all in a kosher way. And we also do it low carb and low fat because I'm a diabetic type 1 and I'm insulin dependent and I follow a very restricted diet that limits my carbohydrate and sugar intake. So I've managed to bring this all in together into that segment. Then there's one more segment you'll get called Behind the Scenes. Sorry, Janette Behind the Scenes. And this is really a segment that gives you an up close and personal look into my life as I balance caregiving, my disability to my right foot, which is 3 years old now and changed a lot of my life. And also things like me getting ready for some red carpets, me taking care of myself, taking time out, going to like visit my father's grave, like different things that are part of our life, whether we want to do it or not do it. So that Janette Behind the Scenes segment sort of gives you that glimpse into what's going on into my world as I balance out everything. And people really like that because it's very honest. It's very pertinent. It always has a great message and it's relatable because 9 times out of 10, savvy women over 40 are going through a lot of the same issues that I'm balancing from, you know, caregiving, reinvention, sandwich generation, time for yourself, dieting, extra, whatever, healthcare. So they really find that segment relatable. Again, this is all in the Savvy. So if you sign up for Savvy, you will get all of this and so much more, including our giveaways. And, you know, we produce segments every week. So even though Savvy's only produced once a month, you'll have an opportunity to go also and see the other segments that were produced that month or the other episodes that were produced that month. So you really do get a lot of really good content for growth, for reinvention, for entertainment, for, advice, inspiration, and for overcoming the challenges that we do have in our lives as women.
Wow. All right. So thank you, Jeanette, for that amazing one. Right. And yes,
You're welcome.
yeah. Okay, so Janet, I want you to, talk to women, specifically the younger ones, right? Because I feel like you have, you know, life advice to give to them that you think will be very beneficial for them. Today, a lot of women, they feel pressure to, take care of everyone else but themselves. It's almost like it's an innate character, right? So what would you
Mhm.
say to someone who is silently carrying that weight?
Okay, well, I'm technically carrying that weight, and I know what it's like, and I know how debilitating, exhausting, frustrating, and yet rewarding it can also be. But as you said, we as women in this predicament tend to put our own needs last, and that I think is dangerous. I think if I had to give one piece of advice, I would say protect your mental illness and protect your physical illness by slotting in every day at least some time for yourself, whether it's like 30 minutes or maybe an hour, if you can get an hour. Um, Things like just having some downtime or doing something for yourself that you really enjoy, or even a bit of exercise or a walk, something that can help remove you from all the stress and just let you focus on you, because that's very grounding and centering. And then, with your breathing and everything can be very calming. It also maybe gives you just like a moment to stop running, to stop the chase, and let your cortisol levels come down.
Mm. Wow. All right. So thank you so much for that one, Janet. And
You.
finally, for young adults that are probably listening to our conversation today, what habits do you think they can build now to, create a healthier balance between career, relationships, and personal well-being?
Well, I think it's this myth that, there's a couple of levels to this myth. Number one, there is no real work life balance. That never really exists. It's something that you have to make exist. And how do you do that? You have to be um, organized. You have to know your priorities, and you have to know how to schedule. And then you also need to know how to farm out. And by that, I mean, like, what are you really going to do and what are you going to let go of? Who are you going to bring in to help you to give that piece away that you can get it off your plate? Because there's only 24 hours in a day. And if you're doing too much and you're constantly overloaded, you are going to feel it in your body with the stress levels. And also, it'll affect your sleep levels. So I know some of us, we have a hard time letting go because we want to do it all or we think it has to be perfect. So let go of the perfection, let go of I have to do it all myself. And where there's resources, be they community resources, government resources, financial resources, or even the support of a community where you have other people around you that can help you, support you, whether it's extended family, maybe some friends, or even the community at large, maybe your church, whatever, where there's people who can support you to give you that balance. And balance also includes rest, right? Because if you don't rest, you're pouring from an empty cup to begin with, so you can't give all. That's what I say. I say you really have to know what is truly important to you, what is not. You have to know how to set a boundary and say, no, I'm not doing this. You have to know what your goals are, what your priorities. You have to be prepared, which means you have to plan your days. You can't leave everything to the last minute. Not in this predicament, you can't be super spontaneous either. You got to plan. And I think asking for help wherever needed, whenever needed.
Hmm. Wow. Oh, all right. Like you said, first of all, prioritize what is important for you, right? You can't always say yes to everything. So make sure you prioritize what is important to you. And also, like you said, ask for help when needed, right? So you can always ask for help. So yes, thank you, Janet. This has been
And one
amazing.
other thing, research, because
Mm,
there are community and financial resources available. But if you don't take the time to maybe do a little research, you won't know about them. And that ties in with asking for help. You have to know what you're asking for or who you're going to
mm.
ask.
Research, right? Very important. So yes, thank you, Janet. And it brings me to the final segment of my podcast. I call it the rapid fire segment, right?
Okay. Okay.
You could either answer with a word or a phrase starting now.
Oh,
So what is one word that describes your 20s?
my 20. Uh, Action.
Action. Wow. Okay, so what is a book that has influenced your life?
Difficult conversations.
Hmm.
And yeah, the difficult conversation book series, I would say. And I would also say independent. I mean, sorry, it's called Codependent No More. That was also a
Hmm.
big influential book in my life.
Okay, codependent no more and
Yeah.
difficult conversations. Hmm.
Yeah.
All right. So what is one daily habit you can't live without?
Carving out some time for me. So typically for me, doing my skincare routine and my makeup and my hair is something I do for myself. Now, if I choose to get up and maybe just do my skincare routine and not put my makeup on because I'm not filming that day or I'm not going out, whatever, if I want to give myself that rest, I will.
Hmm.
Another sort of thing, I make sure I eat healthy. I make sure I take all my medications. Um, and I make sure that when I've had enough for the day and I'm super swollen and I'm having, side effects from my foot injuries with the pain, shooting pain, swelling, inflammation, that sort of, when it gets to be too much for me because I am on my feet so much during the day, I just at some point chill out. I say, okay, it's 7 o'clock. I've done everything I can for today. And I just want to go lie in my bed and maybe do some emails or do some unfinished work or even flip on a streaming platform like Netflix or something like that and just watch a show that I want to watch. That's my time. I'm not going to answer the phone, nothing. That's for me.
Hmm. Wow. Oh, all right. Okay. And finally, what is one piece of advice every young woman should hear?
Every young woman. Okay.
Yes.
So I'm going to answer this from a savvy woman over 40s perspective because I catered to that crowd. So let's say I was giving a young woman advice for when she gets to be a savvy woman over 40. I would tell her, live while you can.
Hmm.
Because when you're free and single and you don't have a lot of responsibilities, you can go and do a lot more.
Hmm.
And I would say it's the same type of thing as if, a woman who is married with a child will tell you the same thing. Live it up while you can in your 20s. Make sure that you know, travel, explore,
Hmm.
learn about yourself, learn what makes you tick. Um, be honest about what you don't want to do, what you need to learn to say no to, how to set boundaries. Make sure you take the trip, take as many trips as you can, and just kind of like live for you But at the same time, as you get into your mid to late 20s, things change a little too. You might be, into a job by that point. So the responsibility is going to pop in, but you would still have the freedom when you get your vacation from work, your 2 weeks or your 4 weeks or whatever. So plan that out well. Make sure that you have that plan in motion. So when your vacation time comes up, you're going somewhere new every year. You're experiencing life. I would also say by mid to late 20s, you might also be in a relationship and discussing like marriage or something like that. Um, I would really encourage women to spend as much time with their potential partner as they can and really get to know them. Because when you're young and idealistic, the person that you love today that you think you might want to spend the rest of your life with may not really be the person for you. And you have blinders on. You're young, you don't see everything the way you should, but start asking yourself the key questions, like, are we really compatible? Do we really share the same life goals and dreams? Am I being supported in my goals and dreams? Or do I feel like I have to give everything up to support their goals and dreams? Because if you do that, there will be resentment at the end of the day. Are we really, on the same page about where we're going and what we want on our timelines? Do I really want to be a mother? Do I really want to be in a committed long-term relationship? These are things you have to ask yourself with great honesty and not be ashamed if it's a no, because you're not living to please other people. And I think that that's a big mistake. A lot of young women fall into this trap that they're always pleasing other people and not really looking at what it is that they want from themselves. So that when the time comes when they start hitting 40 plus and things start to unveil or unravel in their life, like family pressure, marital pressure, divorce, whatever, kids, that's when they have like almost a rebellious state because they didn't do it in their younger years and they want to make up for lost time. Don't wait till you're 40 to figure out who you really are. Do it now. That way, when you hit 40, you'll be in a better, solid place and much more grounded and a lot less aggravation, stress, and resentment.
Wow. So, like you said, do it now. Don't wait till, you're older. Make sure you do it now that we have the time. Try and figure out what it is you want, right? What kind of partner do you want? Do you guys have an aligned goals? Because most of the time, when you get married to someone that your goals are not aligned, at the end of the day, you start to resent them. You start to hate being married to them. So you need to make sure that this person, long term, we still want the same thing, right? Because that is actually
Yeah.
really important. Yeah.
Yeah, it is because when you're young and foolish, you get caught up in the love and the sex or whatever and the passion, and you don't necessarily peel down those layers to really look deeper, or maybe you ignore what I call the warning signs, the red
Mm,
flags, those little messages that are trying to tell you there's something off here. And so you just keep going with the flow. But when you keep going with the flow and when you're with the wrong person for another maybe 10, 15, 20 years, that's going to start eating at you, right? It's going to erode your
mm,
confidence. It's going to erode your skills. It's going to, erode your happiness. And that's why I say, don't wait till you're 40 plus to figure it out. Sure, you can have a second act and you can have
mm,
what you missed, but why not just figure it out the first time? Be a little more in tune to your own needs and wants, and do not be afraid to ask for it.
mm,
Right? That's another thing young
mm,
women don't do. They go along with things. They don't speak up. They don't ask for what it is that they truly want. Maybe they don't know initially, but as soon as they figure it out, time to use your voice for the greater good. And it's time to voice what you want. There's no harm in asking. The worst anyone's ever going to tell you is no. If it's
mm,
no, well, that's fine. You can reevaluate. You can move on. You can, there's options.
mm. Exactly. And like you said, the worst anyone will ever tell you is no, right? And really,
Yeah.
there's
And
no harm in getting no, honestly.
I would also say, I know this is very hard, especially in certain cultures, but you can't let others define you or your life, tell you who you are or what you
Mm,
want to be, like your parents or your teachers or your friends or even your counterpart, whoever you're with. If somebody's trying to turn you into something you really don't want to be against your grain, or trying to dictate to you how you should be, how you should live your life, what is should be
mm,
important to you, what isn't, what your goal should be, then that's a lot of control. And that you're letting other people dominate more and morph you and speak for you and control you. That's never
mm,
going to work. You're going to rebel against that, right? That's where you have to
mm,
find the power within yourself to have the courage to truly speak up and say, sorry, thank you for your advice. And you have to weigh it for yourself and in your own internal monitor and decide, this is what I'm going to adhere to. This is what I'm not. And stand by it, and don't be ashamed, and don't be embarrassed, and certainly don't be guilty. You do what's
mm,
right for you. That's how you have the best life possible.
mm. Yeah. All right. And like you said, don't be ashamed. Don't be guilty. Because, us women, sometimes we tend to feel guilty about things like this, standing your ground, and then you feel guilty that you stood your ground. But you need to
That's
know
right.
that
But
this
we
is,
also then
yeah.
say to ourselves, okay, why is it okay for my husband to, or my boyfriend or whatever, to run off, 3 times a week with his friends and play poker
Mm,
or do whatever they do? You deserve a ladies' night too, right? There should be
mm,
balance in the relationship. If he takes a
mm,
night off or two, so should you, right? That's what I'm
mm,
trying to say, is that it can't just be one sided where you're doing all the giving and they're doing all the taking. Because at some point, you're going to burn out and it's going to equal a zero, a big fat zero, right? You're going to feel like
mm,
depleted and you're going to become very resentful. So if things are not sort of balanced a little bit, with some kind of fairness and judgment, you're not going to be happy. You're also going to probably go into a stagnant place where you won't grow. And that's really sad because the other person might be growing and might be outgrowing you, right?
mm,
This
mm,
is why people sort of split apart, right? They go on different paths. They're no longer aligned. A lot of it has to do with the fact that they were never really aligned, but they had the
mm,
blinders on, or because the women give too much, say too little, and it's not an equal relationship. It's not balanced.
mm,
So I don't think it's right that you should, you give and you do what you want, but not everything. It has to be that you get something back. It's give
mm,
and take, not just that somebody takes from
mm,
you. It's give and take.
mm. Yeah. Like you said, it's give and take, right? It's vice versa, basically. You shouldn't be the one always giving, all the time. You should also receive. So if you find yourself in situations where you're doing the giving, I think it's time to, pack up and leave, right? Which isn't
Right.
bad,
If you're doing
obviously.
all the giving, and you're getting very little back or very little receiving, then you have to
Mm,
look at this relationship with clear cut eyes and really say, why am I doing all the giving? What are they giving up? Right. It's like,
mm,
you know, no one person should do it, give it all, do it all, be it all. You can't live somebody else's life for them. You can't breathe their breath. You have to have something for yourself. And yes, if I'm in a relationship, whether even if it's a friendship or if it's any kind of relationship, even a family dynamic, where it's like, you're always giving, they're always taking, and it becomes very toxic, there's only so much you're going to take before you're going to explode, right? You have to
mm,
get out of
mm,
that. That is not a good thing to be in. It's not good for your mental health. It's not good for your emotional health. It's not good for your physical health. And it certainly isn't going to move you forward in life. It isn't going to move the needle forward in life. It's just going to keep you exactly where you are. And that's going to lead to resentment. And it could also lead to illness, because illness manifests in the body, you know, from a lot of times from reaction to what is going on around you, our environment, and the people we let in our environments, right? Just,
Right.
and I think also it's really important to say this: people don't change. Leopards do
Mm,
not change their spots.
mm,
What you see somebody around 2025, their fundamental character is not going to change. That's who they are. They've grown, that's who they are. What will change is their needs and their goals.
mm,
And so if you don't have the commonality of the same needs and the same goals, that's where things are going to go awry. You know, you can always have different interests and introduce each other to interests, different interests. But if you don't have that basic connection with the same goals and the same needs, and you don't give the person some freedom and some time to, you know, enjoy or do for themselves, then it's going to be a problem. Let me give you an example on this. Let's say if you're a young couple and you're both in school, you both have classes, you both have a home to run, you both have maybe a baby or something to take care of, and you need to share that. You need to split those responsibilities and share it. It can't be that only the woman is overloaded with all of it. That is not fair. Or that she should be the one to say, well, you know what, I'm going to drop out of school now because I can't take all of this. It's too much for me. I'll back out and let you fulfill your goals, right? At
mm,
some point, you have to say, where am I going to fit in? Now, it may be that you come to an agreement that you might give up 2 years of school to do X, Y, and Z to let him finish, on the understanding that once those 2 years are up, you get your chance and he has to start pulling his weight. And if he's not prepared, or where it might not be a he, could be another, you know, whoever you're in a relationship with, whether, you know, you're LGBTQ plus, whatever it is, doesn't matter. And, you know, at that point, whoever it is that you're in a relationship when you made this agreement needs to step up and do their part. And if they're unwilling to do that, then they need to find someone, like hire someone to help you get what you need so you can have those 2 years of study to yourself. And if they're unwilling to do that and they're going back on their word, take a look at who you're with, because obviously you're with the wrong person.
mm. Exactly. Exactly. So yes, thank you, Janet. This has been absolutely amazing, honestly. And
Yeah,
finally, I
thank
would like to add, right? Because personally, I would like to say I've learned a lot, putting myself first. From this conversation, I've learned that it's okay to put yourself first, right? Instead of putting, every other person's needs above yours, right? It's okay to put yourself first, not in a way of being selfish, but actually looking out for yourself. Because most times, at the end of the day, when we put everybody's needs above us, we end up being unhappy, right? And we just stay there because it's nothing much we can do about it, rather than just stay in such situation. So instead of being in a situation like that, it's better you take action now. That now is the best time. So
Yeah, and to be free and enjoy your life. And you know what? After 20s into your 30s, 40s, it's not meant to be a death sentence. You're supposed to still enjoy yourself. It's also about communication, right? So if you're
yeah,
traveling along the same path and you're growing and life is changing, it doesn't mean you stop having fun together. It doesn't also
mm,
mean that you stop the romance either. You should still have your date nights too. This is how things grow and nurture. And communication is key, right? But it starts with you, and you have to know what you want and what you don't want. And if you can't, until you've come to that place, it's going to be very hard for you to express it or articulate it to other people. And you don't want to wait till it festers to a point that you just blow up
mm,
or lose 20 years. You want to wake up one day and say, oh, well, I'm 50 now or I'm 40 now and I've lost all this and I've had no freedom. I've had no fun. No, don't let it get that far.
mm,
You are the master of your own domain.
exactly. Oh, right. Like you said, we are the master of our own domain. And most importantly, don't let it get that far. Right. Take action now. Now is the best time to take action. And this is not to say those people already in such situation cannot leave. No, you can still leave if you're already in a situation where you feel stuck. You can still leave. It depends on you, on your willingness to leave that situation, right? So,
Yeah, it
um,
takes courage,
right.
it takes
Mm,
research, it takes planning. I'm reiterating that, but there are resources and people who can help. You can get out. You should never be in a death sentence or a life sentence for the rest of your life, especially if
mm,
you're under 30. You got lots of time to live. So don't remain in a very negative situation. Find your way out.
exactly. Find your way out. All right. So thank you, Janet. And before you go, I would like to ask, where can listeners get to, learn more about you and also connect with you?
Okay. So viewers and listeners can go to www.janette, Janette, Burke, Burke.com to learn more about me. That's my website. And again, we do provide lifestyle and like we're talking about today, this would be considered lifestyle and entertainment content for savvy women over 40. To connect with me, you will find me on every social media platform you can think of at Janette's TV, JANETTES or Janette Burke, JANETTEBURKE. You can DM me on any one of those platforms. You can reach me by email at Janette, JANETTE, at Janette, JANETTE, Burke, BURKE.com. And as I mentioned earlier, sign up for Savvy. Savvy by Janette's TV podcast e-publication. It's the monthly publication. And all you have to do is go straight to my homepage at www.janetteburke.com and sign up there, and you will receive it every month. That's our free gift to you.
Mm, mm, mm. Okay. So personally, I'll put the link in the show notes so it's easily accessible for listeners, right? And to my listeners, I would like to say thanks for tuning in to Conversations with Sekani. If this episode sparked something in you, just as it did in me, make sure to share to someone you think might need this and also subscribe so you don't miss out on new episodes. Once again, thank you, Jenna. This has been amazing.
Thank you so much, Sekani. It's been a lovely interview.
All right, take care. Do have a wonderful day.
You too.